Melanie Lazenby, and this is Foundations NYC, your exclusive tour into Manhattan's most historic neighborhoods and buildings, from what they once were to what they are today. We'll take you inside what these storied structures look like now. Now we're on the Upper East Side, just steps from Central Park, in front of the Ruxcroft House. Built in 1881, this 25-foot wide mansion was slightly modified in 1901, 7 years before Franklin Delano Roosevelt moved in just down the block with his wife and mother. This presidential block was always one of the finest in the city for the upper crust of Manhattan, and today it remains very much the same. Currently, this mansion has been converted into 2 oversized condominiums, one with a very modern twist. Let's join the owner for her modern take on this classic space.
Hi, I'm Perry and welcome to my beautiful home on East 65th Street in New York City. You'll notice that it's extremely contemporary in design and fun, exciting, sexy, and sophisticated at the same time. I can't wait to show it to you, so come on, let's rock and roll. So getting off my funky elevator on the 4th floor, which is our main floor, these are over 150-year-old oak doors, and we cover them in white leather. P stands for me, Perry, and my husband's name is Nacho, so the N is for him. Here's the living room, and as you can see, it has a ton of color. The floor is old oak that came with this house, but we painted it black to give it a little contemporary flair. There's a neon light that says naughty but nice, an homage to me. As you can see, there's a ton of sunlight in this room and throughout the house. Me personally, I don't like to see a television in a room, but when we have our parties, for example, the Super Bowl party, we press this button and there's the television screen. One of the things that I loved about this house is that it's 25 feet wide, ton of space, almost like you're living in a loft. Welcome to my contemporary dining room. The chandelier and the chairs are both traditional, but with a little bit of contemporary flair. We recovered them in a nice hot pink. When we first bought this house, there was a wall here, and we broke the wall down. Rather than just have it open, we incorporated this screen. We also did a raised floor, which makes you feel like you're on stage. On my way to the kitchen, I feel like a game show host. Behind door number 1 is our bathroom. Behind door number 2 is the minibar. And behind door number 3, my favorite door, my office. Now you're in my kitchen, which I have a love-hate relationship with because I absolutely hate to cook. It still has a lot of my personality in it. It's still contemporary. It also has a fireplace. Most kitchens don't. When my daughter comes home from school, she does her homework here. This is really the place where we probably spend the most time in. So moving right along, we're now on the 5th floor, which is the master bedroom suite. There's a ton of sunlight in this room, double height ceilings, 2 huge walk-in closets, one for my shoe and bag fetish, and the other one's for my clothes. We also have a fireplace, so you can be very romantic as well. As we make our way to the 6th floor, you'll notice it's very open and airy, and the walls are also used for artwork. Now you're in my son's room. It's very masculine. The walls are dark gray, and then you have the couch, which is a beige. It gets a ton of sunlight. It also has a Juliet balcony. And on the opposite side of the floor is my daughter's room, filled with a lot of color, very, very girly. It's used as not only a bedroom, but her playroom because it is so big. And when we want to see the beautiful New York City skyline, we come up to our private roof terrace. So thanks for coming to see my beautiful, contemporary, colorful, sun-filled, friendly townhouse on the Upper East Side. I hope you enjoyed seeing it as much as I enjoyed creating it.
Before we break, here's a sneak peek at what's coming up on Foundations NYC.
You know, a lot of people think that this is a hotel, and a lot of tourists stop here thinking it's a hotel. But it was actually built in 1916 as a cooperative for artists. There's a lot of light and volume here, and there's still a lot of artist studios in the building.
Here we are in the pool room. It's a full-size, 40-foot length, 12-foot wide, 8-foot deep pool. You got 19-foot ceilings, exposed brick on both sides, Surround sound all around. It's an amazing, amazing pool room. You won't see anything like this in the rest of New York.
And as you walk out onto this terrace, you really get a sense of how special this master bedroom suite is. Two-story, beautiful in the cupola, it's gorgeous. And it's framed by a beautiful view of Midtown Manhattan with the iconic water towers that one sees all over New York City. And as you enter your second private terrace, you can look all the way down Fifth Avenue, which is definitely one of the most dynamic streets to live on in the world.
The bank consisted of one empty volume from the main level of the cashier's counters and so on, all the way to the roof. And what we did was we added individual floors to create all of the individual apartments. And the area we're standing in right now was part of that main building.
Stay right here for more New York City history, beautiful buildings, and what's inside them. Now we're across town on the Upper West Side in front of the legendary Hotel des Artistes. Between 1903 and 1919, 6 grand studio buildings were built on vacant lots all along this block for wealthy artists. These north-facing double-height studios created one artsy enclave. The trouble was, the massive Gothic design of the building called for a structure that was almost as wide as it was tall, and nearly just as deep. The loophole in getting this approved by the building code at the time was to call it a hotel and offer full hotel services. Upon completion in 1919, the residents enjoyed services such as a dining room, a ballroom, a communal kitchen, squash courts, and even a swimming pool. Once home to artists, actors, and notables such as Norman Rockwell, Rudolph Valentino, and Isadora Duncan, this glamorous building is as wonderful and grand on the inside as it is on the outside. Let's go inside and check out how some of these not-so-starving artists once lived.
Hi, I'm Peter Norris.
And I'm Barbara Norris, and we'd like to welcome you to our home at the Hotel des Artistes, just steps away from Central Park.
You know, a lot of people think that this is a hotel, and a lot of tourists stop here thinking it's a hotel. But it was actually built in 1916 as a cooperative for artists. There's a lot of light and volume here, and there's still a lot of artist studios in the building. And keeping in the tradition of this being an artist studio, we wanted to hang our own art in here. As you can see, it's a little difficult with all the books as well, but we put railings up and we hang our art in front of the books.
We moved our family here about 3 years ago from the suburbs. And what we loved about it was that we had the feeling of living in a house in the middle of the city.
Continuing with the wonderful flow of space, this enfilade of space from room to room, we're entering the dining room now.
And the dining room for us is where we get together when our whole family comes together, and we can actually seat 12 in this room.
This is a 100-year-old building, so we also needed some updating in terms of downlighting. We added a speaker system which ties into an iPod in the other room if you want to pump some tunes. We've been wine collectors for years, and it was a real surprise after moving in from the suburbs to find out there's a whole wine cellar here for about 700 bottles. It's climate controlled, air conditioned.
And it's great for company or not. Cheers.
Cheers. So here we are in the master bedroom suite. This room is a mezzanine room. It was built inside of the space and actually has a Juliet balcony that looks out over the dining room.
And the best thing about this apartment are the closets. Closets, closets, closets. We even have some empty closets. I think at last count, around the apartment, we had somewhere around 40 closets. Where would you ever find that in Manhattan? We're now entering the West Wing, which comprised of 3 bedrooms and an office.
And like a suburban home again, it's nice to have our separate places, the children and ourselves. Part of our renovation was to try to figure out how to get really 2 bathrooms into one space, one for our daughter Lindsay, and then for our daughter Brittany, a separate bath but with a connecting shower.
glad to have had this opportunity to share our special space with all of you.
This apartment really feels like a house in Manhattan. We don't miss the suburbs at all.
Up next, we head to Soho to see a home inside one of the city's first Con Ed substations.
This floor features an antique clock motif, barrel vaulted ceilings, the original copper piping that was restored and encased in glass that runs through the entire house. The wet bar for entertaining, has a dumbwaiter that comes from the kitchen.
And later, we look at a bank that's been converted into a luxury condominium. Welcome back to Foundations NYC. Next, we go inside a former Con Ed substation, which has been converted into a beautiful townhouse loft in the heart of the cast iron district. The owners took an industrial space in Soho and transformed it into modern-day luxury with original details from 1909 to current-day amenities such as a swimming pool. In the early 1800s, Soho was an upper-class residential area, which became much more commercial 50 years later. By the early 1900s, when this substation was built, the well-heeled had moved far uptown, and factories had taken over the increasingly undesirable area. However, Soho has certainly come full circle, and this is, once again, a blue-chip neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Steve Halpern from City Habitats. We're here today at 214 Lafayette, right in the heart of Soho. This amazing loft townhouse was formerly a Con Ed substation, one of the first in New York. When the owners purchased it, they really wanted to maintain as much of the original details as possible while bringing it to a luxury level as well. Let's go check it out. The unique entryway gives you a little glimpse into what's to come in this amazing home. Here we are in the pool room. It's a full-size, 40-foot length, 12-foot wide, 8-foot deep pool. You got 19-foot ceilings, exposed brick on both sides, surround sound all around. It's an amazing, amazing pool room. You won't see anything like this in the rest of New York. On the other end of the floor, you have the home's office library with floor-to-ceiling windows, tons of natural light facing Petrosino Square in Soho. It's a great place to get some work done. The third floor is the main living area. 25-foot ceilings, 13-foot north-facing window lets in a ton of light, really gives you that loft feel to it. On the west side of the room, you have this antique wood-burning fireplace that was imported from the south of France and recreated here. Sit down with your friends and watch a movie on this drop-down movie screen, or you could have a formal dinner at the dining room table, which seats around 12. On the far east end of the room is the breakfast nook. It's a great place for you to watch the sun rise through the Palladian window, read your morning newspaper, and have a cup of coffee. In the center of the room, you have an industrial-grade chef's kitchen, which is open to the entire room so you can communicate with your guests, as well as cook up a feast for your entire family. The fourth floor houses the master suite. What's really special is the suite sitting area overlooks the open main space below. This master bedroom is extremely cozy, with great sun-filled windows, beautiful views of Soho, and exposed brick. There's also a wonderful sitting area here just so you can relax at the end of the day. The penthouse level is really designed for the family. This floor features an antique clock motif, barrel vaulted ceilings, the original copper piping that was restored and encased in glass that runs through the entire house. The wet bar for entertaining, has a dumbwaiter that comes from the kitchen, and let me show you my favorite part of this floor. It's this 925 square foot private roof terrace that opens up to the family room. It's really great for your indoor-outdoor living. I hope you've enjoyed the tour of this unique architectural masterpiece, which combines the artistic feel of old Soho with the luxuries of the 21st century.
Coming up next, luxury living in a Beaux-Arts building in Flatiron, once known for selling bonnets, pianos, and fancy groceries.
And finally, you come up to the top of the cupola, which is a 600 square foot master bathroom suite with 30-foot ceilings underneath the top of the cupola. You can step into this huge open shower, or you can take a bath in the clawfoot tub. And when you're done, you can get a massage and just breathe the tranquility of knowing you're at the top of the world.
Welcome back to Foundations NYC. Next, we bring you behind the doors of an unusual home situated in the cupola of the Merchant Central building. Built in 1897, this Beaux-Arts beauty was at the center of Manhattan's shopping district between the Civil War and World War I. This beautiful commercial structure once housed a bank, a piano store, and a bonnet shop. However, a little-known fact is that the source of Minetta Creek starts on this block, and to this day, it still runs underground, straight through to Greenwich Village. From the earliest New Yorkers trout fishing here, to the Gilded Age residents shopping here, let's see how modern-day New Yorkers are living here today.
Welcome to the penthouse cupola at 141 Fifth Avenue, located on the southeast corner of 21st and 5th. My name is Christopher Schlank. I'm with Savannah. We're a New York City-based real estate development company. This is one of our most recent projects and my personal favorite. From the street, what you see is a beautiful Beaux-Arts building with a curved corner on 21st Street. And one of the defining points about 141 Fifth is that it has a cupola on top, and it is one of the only 5 residential cupolas in New York City. When you walk into this cupola, you feel immediately the vast expanse. You have great curved windows, high ceiling. It just feels great. You look out to the Flatiron District, that will always remain unobstructed. And we're on the 12th floor and you can't hear anything. The kitchen opens onto the dining room, and as you can see, it's a light-filled, big windows. And what we've done is we've spent a lot of time on the details. So we have 2-inch Calcutta gold marble, custom cabinetry built in. We have a very deep sink, and then a 6-burner commercial stove. And when you're done and you're tired and you want to enjoy yourself, you can come out to the terrace and you can have a glass of wine or a coffee. Now that we've seen the living space, let's head upstairs to the crown jewel. The bedroom is probably one of the most unique spaces I've been in. It's literally surrounded by windows and gives you almost a 360 view onto the outside. The bed sits below an intricately designed wood ceiling. And finally, you come up to the top of the cupola, which is a 600 square foot master bathroom suite with 30-foot ceilings underneath the top of the cupola. You can step into this huge open shower, or you can take a bath in the clawfoot tub. And when you're done, you can get a massage and just breathe the tranquility of knowing you're at the top of the world. And as you walk out onto this terrace, you really get a sense of how special this master bedroom suite is. 2-story, beautiful in the cupola, it's gorgeous. And it's framed by a beautiful view of Midtown Manhattan with the iconic water towers that one sees all over New York City. And as you enter your second private terrace, you can look all the way down Fifth Avenue, which is definitely one of the most dynamic streets to live on in the world. So that about wraps up the tour. It's been a long process, a lot of sweat and tears, but at the end of the day, nothing gives us more gratification than knowing that someone's going to live in the cupola who loves it as much as we do.
Coming up after the break.
The vault door that is located in the lobby was part of the main safe that was in the basement. I felt that it was necessary to salvage this and as a symbol of what was here before.
Welcome back to Foundations NYC. Now we're standing in front of the former New York County National Bank. In 1902, the bank's reserves were almost completely wiped out and the bank was running at a deficit. However, the bank's president refused to let it fail, and within 4 years, he had successfully turned it around. They celebrated by building this magnificent structure out of limestone by one of the most prominent architects of the day, Dilemos and Cords, who also built Macy's on 34th Street. Both the interior and the exterior were designed to impress depositors and successfully did so until it moved locations in 1987. Today, the bank building, as it is now known, is a luxury condominium with a full-time doorman who accepts packages right by the bank's vault. Let's go inside and take a look.
Hi, my name is Richard Fiore. This is my wife Laura. We're sitting in our living room at 300 West 14th Street, the bank building, which she and I developed somewhere around 1999. The vault door that is located in the lobby was part of the main safe that was in the basement. I felt that it was necessary to salvage this as a symbol of what was here before. The bank consisted of one empty volume from the main level of the cashier's counters and so on, all the way to the roof. And what we did was we added individual floors to create all of the individual apartments. And the area we're standing in right now was part of that main building.
Yes, this is the part that was in 1907. And then the living room behind us was the adjunct building where the administration was. So that was a totally different building from this one. There was nothing here at all. It looked like a raw garage. Here we are in the living room. This is a large living room. It's got 15-foot ceilings and concrete floors, and we spend most of our time here. The floors were a major influence as to the color of the space, because when we sanded them up, this is the color that came out. So having seen that, we decided to use that as our color palette. People ask me, how did you get a floor like this? I said, it was here. It's existing.
This wall that I'm looking at is really just a box that was placed in the middle of the floor that created a room. And in order to access the upper level, which I use as a sort of a home office, we put in this circular stair.
We wanted to create a second level in the bedroom so it wouldn't have 15-foot ceilings.
We literally took out the center portion of the building, creating this atrium.
And now it's become a bamboo garden. The great thing about the bamboo is it serves as its own window treatment. So we get privacy without having to block off the view. So our favorite thing is the garden. We love having outdoor space. I call it the backyard because it's not a penthouse, it's on the second floor.
The space was not there before. This two-story building extended all the way to the back of the lot line. And we took down that whole rear section to create this garden.
And light and air for the apartments above.
And light and air for the balance of the apartments on this end of the building. Looking back at what it took to do this and the hardship we both went through, it's hard to imagine that we really did do it, considering now how it works and how happy we are with it.
This is our favorite space. We've done 8 spaces together since we've been married, and this is our very favorite space to be in. Love it. Just love this apartment.
And that's all for this episode of Foundations NYC. Please join us next week for more New York City history, beautiful buildings, and what's inside them. Thanks for stopping in. I'm Melanie Lazenby, and this is Foundations NYC.